In this video, I'm going to update my orchestration to make use of the new InfoPath form that we'd created. And what I'm going to do is allow this to be turned on or off depending on whether you have InfoPath installed on your computer or not. So we had a schema that we used in the business rules. Let me refresh you on that. This is our business rule composer, and we called it the PO trace policy. I probably should have called it the PO configuration policy. And what I want to do is I want to add a new rule here that says whether or not I want to add the InfoPath logic to the orchestration or not. So I'm going to add a new attribute here that says use InfoPath forms. Let's add a little bit more description to that. To PO approve, or approve PO. And that's going to be a Boolean, yes or no, true or false type thing. And we need to probably promote it to a promoted or distinguished field. And let's do a rebuild on that. Then we're going to go back to our rules over here, and we're going to go to the schemas, and we have to connect to that schema. So going to my Visual Studio 2005 projects, then which file is it? BT 2006 intro, PO schemas, and then it's called PO trace. Okay, so now I'm going to look at my rule here on the test system. I'm going to add a rule for this. Drag it down. Okay, I can't change this because it's been deployed, right? So just a review of how Business Rule Composer works. I have to copy this and then paste the entire policy to a not saved version. Then I can change that version. And here we'll put true. I'll go ahead and set this on all of these to true. And then when I'm going to put this code on the disk that comes with your tutorial. And if you don't have InfoPath installed, what you would do is just change this to false here. So we save that and we publish it and then we deploy it. Okay, so now in our orchestration, where we have the manager approval logic, which is right here, we construct the PO message. So now you cannot put an if statement, by the way, inside of a construct shape. I think that's kind of sad they don't do that in a way. So what I'm going to have to do is actually have another potential. Let me see what we have in here. Let's double check. We have a map. Let's just review what's in the map. Okay, so you can see here we were setting the approval information to blanks, and then we were building our standard purchase order. Okay, so what we need to do now is I want to have some logic here. Let me just show you where I'm headed with this. I'm going to have a decide shape, and at the very top of our program we called the business rules somewhere right here, and that was returning a message called message PO trace. So now in this if statement way down here, I want to say if message PO trace dot, and what I'm expecting to see here is my new variable, and it's not there yet because of the old trick here. Even though I rebuilt it, I have to re-reference it here. So I got to break and rebuild my reference to my schemas. So we re-grab this. Now we go back to this if then else rule here. And we say if use InfoPath forms. If that's true, you don't have to put equals true because it's already a Boolean, right? So if it's true, what I need to do here is actually construct another shape. So we'll add a construct, and just to keep things balanced, we're after kind of have a construct on both sides here. So let's put, actually I like to put group boxes here also just to put more documentation. Okay, and then here, if you recall, we constructed a message called message approved PO. So I'm actually going to need a clone of that. A message, let's look at this again. Oh, it's actually called message approved PO out. Okay, so we're going to take that message and we're going to create a second version of it. Message approve PO out 2. And down here in our send statement now, we're actually going to send out 2. Okay. And so here we're going to construct, let me give you a little more room here to see this, what I'm doing. We're going to construct that out 2 message. When my window is real small, it usually pops it down here, but notice it's popping it in the middle of the screen, the little pull down list. And here, there it is there. So now we have both of these messages constructing message approved POut 2. And in the case where we don't want to use InfoPath, what we're going to do is just simply copy everything forward. So we're going to say message, we'll just hit the control space bar here and we'll pick from a list. I guess I hit the wrong key. Message out 2 equals message approve out. And just in case there's any context fields on that, we can optionally put this line. Okay, so we're just copying. Messages are immutable, right, in BizTalk. You can't change one once you've built it. So what we're having to do is actually clone it down to a new message, and then we'll copy that over here. But now on this side, we're going to have to do just be a little bit more tricky. So we need an XML document to do what we're going to do. So I do already have over here XML doc. So let's copy that here. And we need to say equals new system.xml document. Always be sure and construct a new version. Otherwise, you may have a pointer still to some old message, and then you can actually corrupt other messages, which is not a good thing. So we have our XML document. We set the XML actually right here. We'll copy this line, and we'll set XML document equal to our message. Now let's go back to our disk and look at our messages. So what we need to do is insert now basically this line of this chunk of code right here in front of that. So up to the word approve PO here. So we're going to do some string manipulation now. We're going to say like str XML equals xml.to.outer XML, and then string XML equals. Now we haven't defined string XML yet, but we will in just a second. So we have string XML equals string XML dot replace, and we're simply going to do a replace function here. And let's add here string MSO text. Okay, now we have the old quote within quotes problem here. So what I'm going to do is actually take this, and I'm just going to pop up something like Notepad here. Or Edit Plus, whatever your editor that you like is. And then I'm going to say edit replace all and change double quote to a single quote. Okay, now we can easily put this within our double quotes in the X language. Now I'm not done. I'm going to come back and actually fix this here in just a second, because what we're going to need is actually this little phrase right here. So I want to replace approve with string MSO text plus the same phrase we just took out. I think this makes it more readable than most other ways we could code this. So let's just double check what we got going on here. That's a long line. So let's add our new variables here, and let's see if the little red squiggly things go away. That's going to be a string. MSO text. That's going to be a string also. Okay, now what looks like it's okay. I still have this little thing here. There's still some line in here it doesn't like. Okay, and I just moved the cursor over here. You can see we have the backslashes here. So in order to keep the backslashes in there, I'm going to put the little @ sign here, so I don't have to escape them all. And let's hit OK, and that got rid of the compile type errors. So now we built our string XML by basically looking for the word approve PO, and in front of it we're going to insert this little chunk of text, which is all the InfoPath specifications basically. Okay, then you notice also the versions in here. So if you ever change your InfoPath, then the version numbers are going to be different. So this is something you might also want to put in your business rules or in your config file so that you can easily change these version numbers without having to recompile your orchestration. So now we've got our string corrected, and now we need to turn our string back into an XML document again. So we're going to say XML document 2 dot load. Load loads from a file, right? And load XML loads from an XML string. So I'm going to take our XML string here, load it back into the XML document. Then I'm going to set message approve out to is equal to the XML document that we've just changed in memory, basically. So just to recap what we've done here. We build an XML document. We set our XML document equal to a BizTalk message. We then turn that XML document into a string, the string representation. We then insert or replace a string within the string in order to get our MSO, Microsoft Office InfoPath text inserted. Now that the text is inserted into the string, we need to load the string back into the XML document and move the XML document back to our new message, which we are constructing right now. And then if there's any context fields, I want to carry them forward exactly as they were from the prior message. So I hope that illustrates some interesting things you can do with XML documents. So I'll stop this video and deploy this, and then we'll come back and test it in the next video.